10 seconds remaining.
Alright folks, welcome
5
back
seconds
to
remaining.
Game 2 of the GEST The Challenge semifinals between
Reserve
mith.trust and Rattlesnake Gaming. This is Beyond the Summit 2. There is another concurrent series in the same tournament. That is on Beyond the Summit. Your caster there is Lysander. That is Vici Gaming against Mineski. I'm not sure what the current status is. I know we started late here, so for all I know, they might be done. I haven't been able to pay attention. I've been too excited by these games. I am, of course, Vikramond, joining you here once again. There was an issue with Dota TV in-game sound last game. Hopefully you guys can all hear me now. Sorry about that last game. I don't know what... It was just my mistake, but nonetheless, going up into Game 2, mith.trust, I think that they had a pretty good draft last game. Perhaps they responded too eagerly to Rattlesnake's Lifestealer, and they did have some trouble in the early to mid game because Kabu on the hard support Crystal Maiden was just able to completely pick them apart. You have to say that it's not all mistakes. Rattlesnake played an excellent game, and mith.trust definitely had opportunities and did well at various points. But in the end, Rattlesnake did take it. They're now up 1-0. They're going to seek to go up into the finals. This is, of course, once again, GEST The Challenge is a periodic series run by the Gigabyte Esports Tournament organization in partnership with Dota Talk, Corsair, Western Digital, and Gigabyte. And it pits two C teams, so usually the two most recent winners of the GEST against two Chinese teams, so two invited Chinese teams. Now, in this case, I believe mith.trust did win two GESTs ago, but the most recent GEST winner, Orange, was not able to attend. Neither was MUFC. So we do have mith.trust and Mineski representing Southeast Asia, Rattlesnake and Vici Gaming representing China. And Rattlesnake, we mentioned in the first game, they're a team looking to sort of show consistency, looking to show a consistent high level of performance that they can just take out. They lose a lot of winnable games is the perception that's been felt by some of the community. And if they are going to play into TI3, if they are going to take out Quantic and actually be in that high-level competition, they need to sort of iron out some of the kinks in their play while maintaining what makes them such a good team, which is, you know, this unpredictability, these unusual drafts and lanes and positioning that they've been relying on. But here, so far, we see them going very standard, very by the book. Lifestealer, Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight, the single most common mid-hero pick in the Eastern scene right now, so the Chinese Southeast Asian scene. The only other heroes really contesting him is Outworld Devourer, but OD gets banned so often that Dragon Knight, who almost never gets banned, tends to sneak through and be picked up. DK as a mid is just a very strong choice because even though his ganking presence in other lanes isn't that great, he's a hero who does well given farm. He can get that farm. It's very difficult to actually keep him off the lane and keep his farm down. And even with not that much farm, just his ability to bring that ranged stun for a very long duration, I've heard it described as Beastmaster Roar on a shorter cooldown, which is hyperbole, but not as much as you might think. So Dragon Knight, a very strong pickup here, and to be fair, mith.trust have some excellent heroes as well. They've got this Nyx Assassin, the Visage. Nyx drafted first. This is something we more often see Asian teams doing than in the West. I feel like this hero has lost a little bit of esteem in the sort of European, North American scene, but here in the Asian scene, he's still very strong and still highly relied upon. And Visage, of course, everybody loves Visage. The damage dealing that this hero can bring in pretty much every stage of the game. To some extent, he doesn't scale as well as some things do, but he's still able to deliver that 4-second cooldown, extremely potent nuke, and that is a big deal. Of course, the familiars are also tremendously useful. As long as you're not constantly having them die, these familiars can do all sorts of annoying things. They have this AoE stun, they have pretty good pushing potential, they can do a lot of damage, they have good zoning. I saw a game in the Esports Champions League, so the Red Bull ECL, between Vici Gaming and Invictus Gaming, and IG were able to keep VG, even though VG were way ahead. We're talking like 15,000 gold ahead. They could not Roshan simply because of IG's effective usage of Visage Familiars. So this is a versatile, strong hero. Expect to see this hero a lot at the International 3. Expect to even possibly see him banned fairly frequently. But I am very interested in Rattlesnake's bans here. They go for the Bat Rider. This is completely pro forma, completely standard. What's a little less standard is they actually ban the Razor. They ban the Weaver again in the second phase, and they ban Morphling. So this Morphling ban I want to talk about real quickly. This is a Lakel's targeted ban. They do not want him having access to that Morphling, a hero that he loves to play, a hero that he's fantastic with, Probably, I would say at this point, because a lot of people stopped playing Morphling. So there was a period in which Morphling was one of the most popular carries. He was picked up almost every game. And then he fell out of favor. There were a lot of nerfs. And now he's sort of snaking his way back into popularity. But Lekels was the one guy who never stopped playing Morphling ever. He was like, you know what? I like this hero. I'm going to play him. Try to stop me. And nobody did. So that's why you see Rattlesnake actually electing to ban this out. And it's a smart move. Looking up towards mith.trust, they pick up the Darkseer, so this is a great pickup to take this late. Darkseer is a hero who sometimes gets banned first, but there's so many heroes vying for first ban status. Pocket picks like this Razor, heroes like OD Alchemist. You can see that mith.trust, now that they didn't have first pick, they wanted to ban out that Alch, because more often than not, if Alch is available first, he'll be taken first. So there's the ban there. And Slark coming out for mith.trust. This is not a hero I've seen this team play. I've not been following mith.trust that diligently. I do know that Slark is an extremely common hero in the Chinese metagame. So in, for instance, the CDEC, so the Chinese in-house community, there was a month and a half or 2 month long period in which Slark was the single most picked hero. Of course, CDEC in-houses are run on Captain's mode, and they are fairly serious most of the time, and they're full of very high-level players. So Slark, a very popular hero because he's able to take control of a game very early on, in the early to mid-game. And again, we see mith.trust juggling a little bit with perceptions, right? You don't want to be pigeonholed, especially in the current metagame, as a team that just runs 4 Protect 1. You don't want teams thinking of you as, oh, they're that team that just wants to farm Lekels. As long as we handle Lekels, we'll just completely dominate them. So this Slark is a hero who completely flips that on its ear. The combination of the Slark and potentially Visage and Nyx rotating to gank is going to kill almost anybody. Like, sure, Dragon is a very tanky hero, so on and so forth, but once Visage and Nyx come calling, Slark is going to have no trouble at all taking apart that Dragonite in the mid. And he will need to. The thing about Slark, the gambit that you make when you pick Slark is we need to sort of get a big early advantage to keep that rolling. More than almost any other hero, Slark, I feel, needs to have a dominant early game to really make it into the mid and late game intact. And in fact, he wants, for Slark, I would say the late game is like 25-ish minutes. You do not want the game running that long. Now, there's 2 routes that mith.trust can take here. They can give Lekels another powerful mid-gamey sort of carry and just seek to, you know, defy expectations some more by just dominating early on and just winning fast. Or they could even, will they go Clinks? No, I don't think Clinks really fits into this composition, but this is something that we've seen mith.trust do, is they'll go the Clinks or something with Slark. I don't know Slark necessarily, but that's the sort of win fast. Lekel still gets a ton of farm, but he sort of parlays that into kills and early advantage. Now, there's not really room for Clinks in this composition. It would have to be a tri-lane, which would be very unorthodox. I don't expect that to happen, but something of that ilk, something of the mid-game dominance carry. The other option is Slark takes control of the early to middle, and you have a hard carry to take the late. But I don't like that quite as much. I just don't think that's very strong. I am very interested, by the way. I was intrigued by this Queen of Pain ban, because Queen of Pain is the most common hero to try to deal with Dragonite mid. But mith.trust evidently had faith in their Slark pick. They were holding it from that point. Ursa! Okay.
Rattlesnake.
Yes, so Ursa is that sort of thing, right? So I was talking about the Clinks. I said there probably won't go Clinks because the lanes don't support it. The lanes do support a tri-lane Ursa with Visage and Nyx Assassin, solo lane Darkseer, mid Slark. I like the Ursa pick a lot. It gives them a lot of potential Roshan ability. They are in the Dire, keep in mind, so they have that innate Roshan advantage governed by the geography of the map and the fact that there's 2 towers that you can come in from. And Ursa could do a lot of work here. He's a very powerful hero. In the lane, his Earth Shock is actually very effective if you level it early. If you get a big Earth Shock on somebody, that's tremendous slow. Now, keep in mind, Visage doesn't really have much in the way of disables early on until he gets those familiars, and Nyx Assassin's stuns are quite short. But if you just use something like a Grave Chill for the Ursa to run up and land an Earth Shock, you can blow somebody up right there. Or if they feel confident that the Nyx Assassin and the Visage are enough, Ursa can just smack away. You can just hit up with this Overpower and Fury swipes and just blow somebody up super quick. Ursa is a very strong pick against Lifestealer, because Lifestealer simply cannot duel an Ursa. It's not a tenable proposition. And Ursa received also a pretty significant ban in pretty significant buff in 6.78. His Fury swipes last for 15 seconds on heroes. That's a very long time. You cannot disengage from a fight, come back 5 seconds later, and your Fury swipes come off. That just simply won't happen. Rattlesnake, meanwhile, round out their composition with supports. Kabu will now be on the Enchantress, who does not reprise his role on the Crystal Maiden. That will be handled by Sag this game, and we'll have to see if Sag can put together as dominant... I still have the band pick overlay on. Fixed. Sag will be up on the Crystal Maiden. He will see if he's as dominant as Kabu was. Kabu on the Enchantress. They'll be joined in the tri-lane by Luo on the Lifestealer. That leaves Lanham to take the middle on this Dragon Knight, and Icy on the off lane as the Bounty Hunter. So Rattlesnake, they've got a good, solid composition. They also have a lot of mid-game dominance. They also haven't gone for any hard carries for the late game. Dragon Knight scales, Lifestealer scales, but neither scales tremendously well. Luckily, neither does anybody on Myth except maybe Ursa. So Rattlesnake, they're going to try to go pound for pound. They're going to try to take this 2-0 and move on to the finals against the winner of Vici Gaming and Mineski. Looking towards Myth.trust, who will be seeking to equalize. R5 on the Nyx Assassin, and SD on the Visage. Actually, yeah, there's a dust up on him already and a sentry on Nyx, so they will spot out the Bounty Hunter quite easily. They will be supporting Lakel's on Ursa, and I'm very excited to see this, in case you guys couldn't tell. And then in the mid, we have Abba on the Slark, going up against Lanham's Dragon Knight. And finally, TNK looks to be going into the jungle immediately on Darkseer, so he's not even going to try going into the solo lane. He understands that Crystal Maiden's going to be able to lock him down fairly effectively. All the surges in the world won't matter. I mean, the thing about this Crystal Maiden here... Well, let's talk about that in a second, because we're going to get a gank attempt. Icy, he's in a lot of trouble already. There's the Grave Chill. Will we get the stun from Nyx Assassin? There it is. Dust as well to slow him down. Ursa swiping away, but they don't have the damage. They do not have the damage for this yet, and that is... I wouldn't say it's a wasted dust, but it's a dust that they probably didn't need to use, and Icy... able to not die there. Again, the lack of disables, right? The Grave Chill is not quite enough. The low-level Nyx Assassin stun is not quite enough to pick off that Bounty Hunter. So, back to what we were talking about. The Darkseer would not be able to survive in this offlane, because you would have Crystal Maiden coming in, she casts Crystal Nova, Darkseer surges in response, and she immediately Frostbite. She's going to save the Frostbite for after his surge every single time. And that means that Darkseer won't survive, because after that, you know, your Surge is still on cooldown, you get open wounds, even Enchantress can come in, and you are utterly boned, essentially, right? Especially if Kabu has a Dark Troll Summoner. Then you're doubly boned. So it's a smart choice here, I think, for TNK not to even bother with this solo lane. And now Icy, the thing is, Myth have not drafted a tri-lane that, at least at early levels, is just going to be able to pick him off very easily. Actually, Grave Chill being used to farm a little bit here, just to improve his attack speed and movement speed. They are going to keep harassing him off lane, but I think Icy will be able to get a little bit of XP here, and that's important because we do have a jungling Darkseer, right? And meanwhile in the middle, Abba fighting out against Lanham. How are they doing? We do have a 6-for-1 up on Abba. There's the stun out from Lanham. He's doing quite well, actually. I would say Dragon Knight getting the better of this lane early on. 10-for-1. Slark 6-for-1. And yes, Slark's damage by itself is not going to be that impressive against Dragon Knight. So because, you know, you whack away at him, but he's eventually going to have this Dragon Blood. He's innately a somewhat tanky hero, and he can stun you. If you leap in, he can stun you for a very long time with his Dragon Tail. It's a 2.5-second stun at level 1, and only continues to scale. So but you can see the leap coming in here. Actually, this is a decent amount of damage, but no. Lana walks away from it, no problem. They're going to need to bring in more to actually kill him, and the dilemma for Myth.trust at this point is you want to keep the supports here so that you can zone out Bounty Hunter, but you also want the mid to try to leverage the Slark against the Dragon Knight, and you can't do both, so you have to sort of decide. They've decided to keep, actually in the mid, Lanham, yes! Abba does get a good leap in. He noticed that Lanham had his bottle, but he ran out of charges there, so they pick him off. Caught the tail end of that. Sorry about that. I know we caught the tail end. I feel alright about it. So yeah, the damage is enough there. He did have the level 2 leap finally, and a couple stacks of Essence Shift. He has taken the second rank in Essence Shift earlier than you sometimes see it. But being able to stack that up and keep it over time will be effective for Slark. So a very nice kill. First blood going the way of Myth.trust this time, and Rattlesnake seeking to respond by just taking a tower. And of course, this is something you get from Enchantress, right? She has that great early push potential. The Skeleton Baby's taking the tower for a bit, and Kabu actually finds the last hit. So that's an effective trade, I think, for Rattlesnake. Sure, they give up first blood, but the Dragon Knight is doing just fine here, even though he has that one death, and they do take a tower. They can even push into the tier 2 if they want. They still have some time on this Dark Troll. He's probably going to make another set of Skeleton Babies. Yes, he does. And Luo and company will be pushing into the tier 2. Meanwhile, trouble for Icy. There's the dust, but they don't have another stun. They do have rank 2 Earthshock. There's the Soul Assumption. No! Bounty Hunter walks away. So meanwhile, Rattlesnake, they're going to threaten this tier 2, and this has the potential of not going so well for mith.trust, frankly. They still haven't been able to get a kill on Bounty Hunter. TNK is finally here. He will pick off this Dark Troll, but already this tower's in a lot of trouble. Will this creep wave coming in be able to do anything? No, they're just going to deflect it away. Sag using Crystal Nova, actually using Frostbite, and yes, this will be a tier 2 tower for Rattlesnake. No, they don't get the last hit, but they do get the tower. That is a big deal. There's the leap in for Lanham. He's out of mana. He doesn't have enough for Dragon Tail. That's going to be very, very much trouble for him. No, he gets away. He's alright. And he's going to just use the new bottle. Wow. Almost picking Slark off with that breathe there. And unfortunately, mith.trust don't really have much push, right? I mean, Ursa's not going to stack Fury Swipes up on that tower, is he? So they don't have very good push yet. They're not really getting levels. And Icy is leveling okay. He's level 3. Of course, Darkseer is doing quite a bit better, almost level 6. But Rattlesnake have 2 towers, right? So you can just see gold per minute. Oh, Abba, he's in so much trouble. He went way far ahead. He does use his ultimate. That's a good response. Will he actually leap in response? He may. He may very well. He's using the health regen. No, the leap completely misses. And actually, Dark Pact only helping Lanham finish him off there. That was a very unfortunate series of events for Slark. He misses the leap. He doesn't... The Dark Pact just ends up hurting him, and Lanham getting the Dragon Breath to finish that off. Non-fortuitous for Slark.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And Rattlesnake just continuing to push up. You see Lanham's, we do have Kabu picking up another Dark Troll Summoner. This is going to be very effective sieging. Dragon Knight, of course, is a great pusher. And what can Slark do here, right? I mean, he leaps. He is Dark Troll Summoner. They're not in range for the Crystal Nova. Actually, sorry, they're not in range for Frostbite. So Slark walks away, but that's another tower for Rattlesnake. 3 towers at 6 minutes. Not exactly where you want to be with mith.trust. The other thing to note is that because Rattlesnake have taken these 2 towers and this tower, this has taken away a lot of the innate Roshan advantage. They even put down a ward here. It's not going to be easy for mith.trust to just segue into Roshan here. Not going to be easy in any way, shape, or form. And Kabu, does he just want to keep pushing, or does he actually want to pick up a gank here? He's got a Dark Troll. It's out of time, unfortunately. He has 2 Centaurs. This is potentially 2 stuns on Ursa. You can see... Lakelz does not feel safe here. It's interesting, very interesting skill build coming out from him. Item build, completely standard, phase boots Vlad's, but 3 in Earthshock, 2 in Fury Swipes, and nothing in the Overpower is somewhat surprising. It does limit Ursa's ability to deliver damage, albeit, of course, increasing his ability to get that slow from Earthshock. I wonder if it wouldn't be nice to sort of see, oh, wow, yeah, and taking the Enrage, I mean, that's fine, but still no Overpower. I would expect him to take 1 rank in that Overpower. If not at 7, definitely at 8. I mean, it's just, that's part of the reason they can't kill Bounty Hunter, right? Like, even if he's slowed, you can't really deliver the damage to him with that Ursa. Abba, farming okay in the middle. I mean, the fact is for mith.trust, they have gotten the last hits for TNK, they've gotten the last hits for Lakelz, and oh, Lakelz actually in a lot of trouble here. Yes, they pick him off with Icy. That's actually going to be, is that Icy's ultimate right there? No, he's very, very close. Nice rotation from Lanham with the Haste Rune. Nyx Assassin doesn't get the Impale off. That's trouble for him now. Spiked Carapace to stun Lanham and Icy. There's the search from Darkseer. R5 walks away from this okay, but they did lose Ursa. The Haste Rune from Dragon Knight, very effective. 4 now up top. Luo, Kabu, Icy, and Lanham, and they're going to just transition into a push. The ultimate is up for Dragon Knight. This is very effective for that corrosive breath right up on the tower. And R5 SD, it's just what can they do, right? Level 4 Nyx Assassin, level 4 Visage, not going to be able to defend this effectively. And Icy, so close to that level 6, so close to track as well. There's going to be more gold income for Rattlesnake if they manage to pick those up, but they might, yeah, they're probably going to peel off because they don't feel confident anymore. TNK, he's got this level 1 vac. There's Abba with the leap. He doesn't quite get it. Nice vacuum, but Slark in trouble. The stun coming through. There's a kill. Dragon Knight's still alive. Lakelz is back into this. He's used Earthshock once already, but yes, they pick up Kabu at least. Here's the reinitiation from Luo. Not quite. Earthshock again from Lakelz. He's tracked up. Yes, they get the kill with the Shuriken toss from Icy. Another death for Ursa. Not happy start for him. He's only level 6. Doesn't really have the farm. And Luo, the open wounds on R5. Nyx Assassin going down. Another track kill. Double kill for Icy. 3-0-1 on the Bounty Hunter. They are showing mith.trust how to leverage the Bounty Hunter here. And this is not looking great, frankly. If you're Myth, you're down 3 towers, potentially a 4th in just a few moments. They didn't get much at all from that. Only a kill on Kabu. They lost quite a bit. They lost Ursa. He's 0-2-1, nowhere near his Vladimir's offering. And like I said, it's going to be easy for Rattlesnake to disrupt that Roshan attempt when it comes. Mith.trust, I mean, it's just a little bit of level dependency early. I didn't talk about this, but Nyx Assassin, a fairly level dependent support. He is now level 5 with that rank 3 Impale. They'll get his Vendetta soon. That will be effective against Enchantress, especially considering Kabu only level 4, nothing, of course, an untouchable. He can get picked off by the next assassin when he hits 6. That might be a tide turner, but right now Abba and Lekels, the two cores, struggling a little bit. Again, mith.trust went a more mid-game focused composition this time than they went last time. And right now, they look poised to not go into the mid-game the way they want. TNK still doing well. He's 41 for 1 on last hits. He's level 7. Let's take a look at the overall level situation. We've got 8 for Dragon Knight and Lifestealer. Slark is actually level 8 as well. The Bounty Hunter not doing fantastically as far as levels go, but the important thing is he has that track, right? And he was able to already get 2 or maybe even 3 kill participations with track. And there's the track doing its work right there. Visage in a tremendous amount of trouble. He does not have familiars or anything. Icy just picking him off there. They get the tower as well. Last hit for Luo. Even more stacked up for Rattlesnake. They're doing better and better. And Lanham wandering around here in the back. Could he catch somebody in the back court, like TNK for instance? He has this ultimate plus stun combo, which is so very potent. Icy spots out TNK. Will we see Lanham turn around? He goes back up on the high ground. Bounty Hunter just spotting out the Darkseer here. They don't want to give away their position just yet. Will we see the ultimate? Yes! There's the Dragon Tail. Track already up. There will be a search for TNK, but he's already too low. Yes! He is too low. The Shuriken toss for the last hit for Bounty Hunter. And that's actually 5-0-1 on Icy. Icy last game on the Nature's Prophet was mostly just hanging on, farming up, but this game, he is back with a vengeance. He's 5-0-1 on the Bounty Hunter, and Lekels still trying to build up to that Vladimir's offering. Appa farming on the Slark as well. He's got his power treads, he's got his bottle, but not that much coming out of Slark just yet, and you can just see Rattlesnake continuing to leverage their advantage. Every track kill is more and more gold for them. Every track kill is more and more advantage, and so far that's something mith.trust haven't really reckoned with. Let's take a look at what people are building. Dragon Knight, I would expect him to go straight into the Shadow Blade here. There's not a compelling case, in my opinion, to be made for going super fast BKB. Well, okay. Super fast BKB is fine, too. To be fair, there's a Darkseer who has that pseudo-disable and the wall. He has a lot of stuff he can do to you. Nyx Assassin, of course, 2 separate stuns. Visage effective, and of course, yeah, the Earth Shock from Ursa is no slouch either, so... Okay, I can dig the BKB first. And Luo, just getting right out. He's very smart using the Rage TP. Keep in mind, mith.trust have no disables that actually go through BKB. Not even a mini stun, so... Lifesteal will always be safe if he decides to Rage TP. Bounty Hunter, meanwhile, carrying a Luo cargo, so... They just saw Luo leave, they won't be expecting to see him again, and so this might be a Nyx Assassin picked off just before he gets Vendetta. Yes, the open wounds is up already, he uses Impale on Luo, who's raged up. That won't do anything, my friend. And Lifestealer and Bounty Hunter pick themselves up another kill. The track was used, and... Rattlesnake continuing to curry their advantage. They're like, oh, you want to play mid-game? Dude, we are the mid-game team. We go Shadow Fiend. How dare you try to do a Slark Ursa composition against us? And Icy now hunting TNK. He is alone. There's nobody here to help him just yet. Does he feel confident that he can actually get this solo? He does, apparently. There's the track up. We'll really just zone him with this. It does look like AA. He just wants to get TNK out of the way. But he has that DD rune still ticking. He might try to find Kabu. He needs to go up into the jungle. Rattlesnake don't have a ward here. He's decided to instead go for Luo. Of course, he didn't see Kabu. Here he comes. He's trying to chase this Lifestealer, but he doesn't have any disables. So this DD rune... What the heck? He leaps right over the Lifestealer, uses Dark Pact as well, no damage, throws out his ultimate. I don't know if that was unfamiliarity, but that's not the correct order of operations for Slark there. And there's the open wounds. He doesn't have any tools now. He has 3 seconds left for his leap. Luo doesn't have armlets, so it's okay. But that still zones Slark out. And meanwhile, Lekels in the Roshan, trying to make something happen in this pit here. He, of course, finishes Vlad's, and he does get it. He manages to secure the Roshan for himself. That's maybe the first thing that's gone right for mith.trust all game, other than the first blood. They really need to start tipping the scales. They need to start getting the Ursa involved, and Aegis will go a long way towards making that happen. He does have Vlad's and Aegis, 752 gold now, 69 last hits. He's right on par with actually Lanham farming very, very well this game. Again, he wasn't really shut down by Darkseer at all. Myth, this looks like a smoke gank to me. Where's the smoke coming out? It doesn't come out. They use the Vendetta. There's the search for Nyx Assassin. They're going to try to get Sag. He has to impale first. He wouldn't have reached him with the Vendetta. That's a smart choice. Leap, and that's a very dead Crystal Maiden. No surprise there. Dark Pact to shuck any debuffs off. There is a pause coming out because Visage... Oh, that's unfortunate. SD got disconnected, and of course he has the ability to get familiars, but now he won't even be able to chase. He doesn't have Grave Chill for Kabu, and this is actually a dangerous situation. We've got Bounty Hunter and Lanham on the high ground here. We've got Kabu on the low ground here. I think most likely we're going to see Slark and TNK try to continue chasing the Enchantress, but will this pincer motion be effective from Rattlesnake? Well, let's take a look at the levels. Bounty Hunter's 8, Dragon Knight's 10. Where's our Lifestealer at? Pretty far away. I have to say, I still think even if Rattlesnake go in on this, it's probably still fairly comfortable for mith.trust. I don't think that Rattlesnake can necessarily turn this fight because the Lifestealer is so far away, and there's no Crystal Maiden, and the Enchantress doesn't have much choice but to flee. That said, Slark, I mean, all his cooldowns are down. He's got Dark Pact in 2 seconds, but he can't leap for another 8. He's got Shadow Dance, not at all. He's in Shadow Dance form right now for a few more seconds. I don't know. Seems kind of iffy. They do have Sentry Ward. I feel like this favors mith.trust somewhat, although Nyx Assassin has nothing, so he's completely out of tools. I think Rattlesnake, if they try to fight this, probably kill the Nyx Assassin. Maybe even Visage. mith.trust rotating. They see the entire team. Yeah, there's Visage on the ground already. A little bit of lag there. Abba, he's chased out. Wow, yeah, they just had to completely disengage. There is the... Oh, Luo, he found a haste route. Slark in so much trouble. He Dark Packs off. No, 2 kills already for Rattlesnake, and just completely caught flat-footed by that pincer motion. I underestimated how strong the Dragon Knight was going to come in there, and that is an easy 2 kills for Rattlesnake, actually. Cabo gets away no problem. The cooldowns and the lack of any tools for the Nyx Assassin was what made the difference there. And Lakel's electing not to come into that fight, too. I really thought that he might rotate in, but he decided not to. And, of course, Luo with the haste rune of the Lifestealer was able to get there very quickly. A very cool build. Rattlesnake, even with this more traditional hero composition, are still doing some cool stuff. Diffusal Blade for Lifestealer, for the big slow effect in Purge, I guess. That's really the only thing you would want there. I mean, there's no Warlock, but yeah, this is cool. I like this slowing, focused Lifestealer. It's kind of an interesting move. I mean, we talk about how good Race Car Lifestealer is for chase, right? How about Diffusal Lifestealer for chase? He's able to chase you very, very effectively. Maybe I don't even know. You can Purge Shadow Dance off Slark, but then again, if you can Purge him, you can see him, and then he doesn't have Shadow Dance, so... I don't know. Interesting pickup. I think it could pay off very effectively. I think it could also be a huge waste of money. But we'll have to see how that plays out. mith.trust smoking up. They know they have to make something happen, especially after that Infelicitus last fight. They really need more. Keep in mind, they have the Visage Familiars for this fight. The Visage is in a much better position. Last fight, because he was disconnected, he lost a lot of time. They're trying to smoke gank the bottom, but no success. Maybe they can turn this into a push, but the lane is so far up. mith.trust can't get anything from this. Nobody's in the jungle from Rattlesnake. They're knocking on the door, but, you know, nobody's home, and the smoke is going to run out without them having anything for their troubles. Lakel's still leading his team, still running around. He's got Phase Boots, part of a BKB. Dragon Knight has his finished BKB. I mean, Rattlesnake have just so effectively used their composition here. I feel more effectively than mith.trust has. mith.trust wasn't able to dominate the tri-lane against the Bounty Hunter. He got his levels. He's 6-0-3. I mean, if we take a look at the KDA, really, nothing tremendously impressive by Rattlesnake, except for the fact that this Bounty Hunter has been everywhere and done everything. Icy, he spots out Lakel's. He's doing a little bit of spawning activity here. There's the Luo coming out. Open wounds already on Ursa. That'll be an easy Aegis pickup. Ursa down for the count for 1. He's going to come up in 5 seconds. Will they seek to go for a second round? Here's the Familiars, waiting for the right moment to stun. Track already up. There's that big Dragon Tail stun. Breath coming through. Track kill on the Ursa. Aegis gone as if it was never there, and mith.trust can't even do anything. Oh, the Spike Carapace, Nyx Assassin, that's not going to do anything against Lifestealer. And Bounty Hunter on the chase. Icy now with a wicked 6 streak, and they're just continuing to run Myth ragged all over the map. There's the Diffusal Blade. SD in a bit of trouble here. Another Dragon Breath coming through. Lanham starting to be dominant as well. That Dragon Breath doing work in every fight. It's just more damage than mith.trust can deal with right now. And Slark, you can just see how defensive of a posture Abba has had to take. He's 1-3-1. He's going BKB first. He hasn't gotten that early game dominance that you need your Slark to get. He hasn't generated the space for Ursa. Ursa's just being kind of taken out in these fights. Caught out in a bit of positioning. Good stealth use by Icy. I mean, this Bounty Hunter work has been tremendous. R5, R5. He has surged right back into the fight. Luo now fleeing. There's the Impale on Lanham. Can they try to make something happen? Nice Impale. Sorry, nice Vacuum, but the BKB very timely from Lanham. And Rattlesnake will be able to disengage with absolutely no issue here. Vendetta is an attempt to chase, but he's tracked up. They know he's here. There's the Sentry Ward. There's the open wounds rage once again. R5 keeps walking into this, and oh, Lakel's, he's stuck inside that frostbite. There's the dragon breath once again. Lakel's in a lot of trouble. They have turned it around a little bit. Cabo already on the ground. Familiar's flying through, but Icy in the backcourt. Picks off Ursa again, now chasing TNK. TNK is surged. Icy, he's almost out of mana. I don't think he can pursue this too much. He's trying to go for Manta style. Icy, actually, he's getting very hype indeed. He might have to go away here. No, he's still going to fight Visage. Puts up another track. One Familiar stun comes through. TNK now seeking to surge. Surging up. They actually killed Slark as well. Icy, no, he's safe. He's going to walk away. Slark... mith.trust, they're trying to chase, they're trying to be effective at that, but just losing the Ursa so early in each of these fights is a problem for them. But that's why I keep focusing on it. If Ursa goes down, a lot of their damage potential goes away. This Slark is simply not delivering it right now, especially as Dragon Knight gets more and more armored. You can see he's gone the full 5 in Dragon Blood. 19 armor, it's 54% physical damage resistance, and so they need Ursa to keep stacking these overpower stacks, and he's not getting overpower stacks in any fight. You could just see in that last fight how effective that Frostbite was from Sag. Ah, he's gone the Phase Boots. Love this Crystal Maiden build with the Phase Boots. I think it's so much more effective than Tranks. Of course, in the last fight, so in the last game, the reason you saw Cabo go Tranks was he knew he had to use so much gold for support items, but in this game, they have another support. Cabo is basically playing a 5-position Enchantress rather than a 4-position, because he's been picking up the lion's share of the wards. And quite a bit of tower damage done already. mith.trust looping around. There's the Vendetta. Lanham caught out a little bit here, but he actually finds the Dragon Tail first anyway. There's a nice impale on Sag and Lanham. Sag already taking down the Crystal Maiden. He still gets a Frostbite off. There's Dragon Breath, and oh my god, Lakel's just on the ground again. R5 going to be taken out. Icy, once again rampaging. Cabo in a little bit of trouble here. Doesn't manage to get his heal off. TNK forces disengage. He's surging. Abba trying to chase Icy, but Icy is chasing TNK already with a triple. Lanham picks off the Darkseer. And there's the GG. mith.trust don't want to play anymore. They tried this mid-game approach. It didn't work out for them. 12, 0, and 4, your final kill line for Bounty Hunter. And Icy, typically a quiet performer for Rattlesnake, completely showing mith.trust the power of the Bounty Hunter here. And that was just a tremendous performance. Lanham, undeterred by taking the first blood, putting together an excellent performance on Dragon Knight as well. And mith.trust, you have to give them credit. They tried something unorthodox. They tried some new picks, and it did not work out for them in the end. Really the Visage even putting together a positive KDA. Ursa, they struggled at every stage. They got one Roshan. The Aegis didn't stay up for long. They couldn't find their footing in any of the team fights. Slark didn't dominate early, and it's back to the drawing board for mith.trust, but it's forward to the finals for Rattlesnake. They will go to face the winner of Vici Gaming versus Mineski. Your caster today has been Vikramond. You can check me out. I have a website, www.vikramond.com, VYKROMOND. I am also on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, all under the same name, VYKROMOND. I hope you enjoyed today's cast. It was a little bit on short notice, so I'm sorry about some of the graphical glitches and stuff like that. My streaming setup isn't quite great yet. After TI3, I plan to do a little bit of a computer upgrade, so that'll be fun. And thanks, folks. Thanks, of course, to the GEST organizers. They run one of the best recurring tournaments. We see the best teams in Southeast Asia facing off against each other. We also see a lot of new teams coming in each season. It's fantastic. I love the challenge as well. I love seeing the Chinese and Southeast Asian teams duke it out. And I'm going to love watching the finals. That will be on twitch.tv/Beyond the Summit. So we'll be moving over to the mainstream. I will be there. Lysander will be there. We will have fun. See you guys there. Again, twitch.tv/Beyond the Summit for the next series, the finals. Rattlesnake against somebody, I don't know. I'll let you guys know in just a second. Thanks again for watching. Have a good day. Have a good night.